Bloodline, they kick off SmackDown by wreaking havoc, okay? Because it's the Bloodline. I guess we're getting
It's
back
their
to
show,
that.
apparently.
Yeah. And Paul Heyman gets in the ring and is just like, "Hey guys, like, don't be mad at us. This is not our fault. This is Nick Aldis's fault." And I'm sorry, Nick Aldis? Boy, I'm just getting excited because, like, first of all, he's a wrestler, so it's like he looks like a wrestler. You know, he's
He
like
looks
big,
like a
he's
wrestler.
jacked, like he's good looking. All another one who is not American, so right up my alley. But like I'm just really excited. First of all, I'm excited that they're setting the groundwork for uh when they're continuing with this feud of Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, the Bloodline with Nick Aldis, because you know, we've been very complimentary of how the general managers have been handled so far, because we were saying the general managers in the past have been too involved with
Yes.
the stuff and being biased and whatever. And I feel like this is the only scenario that I think it's appropriate. And uh you know, and that's something that even Nick says when he gets on when he grabs the mic away from Paul, and he says, "Don't mistake this for being in a conversation between equals, because it's not." And I
Yes.
was like, "What a king!"
Like,
Like, you're just setting him straight immediately, and like I said, it's appropriate in this scenario.
it's appropriate, and then we finally have an authority figure to go after and put down the Bloodline, who for a while it's been their show. Even Adam Pearce was not an authority figure with the
Right,
Bloodline.
right.
You know, you didn't have that guy to go against and say, you know, you can't be doing this type of stuff just because you're the champion. It's not your show, it's my show. And you need that was the next step that this Bloodline story needed, was an authoritative figure to clash against. And I it's a nice symbolism for the decline. And that's where I think we're at right now. I forget what pay-per-view it was when they said that the Paul Heyman said that the Bloodline storyline's in the bottom of the third. We're heading into
Yeah,
the seventh. You know what I mean? Like, I think the Royal Rumble is, you know, we're entering the seventh
possibly.
inning.
I mean, yeah.
Like, it just needs it's and once you get into the third half, or the third part of a three-part story in my eyes, you need to have someone to take them down, and Aldis is the perfect guy because he can also, if need be, I could see an Aldis Roman Reigns feud at some point. You know, maybe after
Oh my god,
Cody
I know.
takes a title, you know, and
Yeah.
he's like, "You did this to me," and all this, and I mean, he looks like he's pretty good shape to at least take a bump or two. If Stone Cold can get back in the ring,
Well,
I'm just
Well,
saying.
let's not compare like, there's no real reason
I'm
that Nick
throwing. I
decided
know. Yeah.
li okay, I'm like, he's not 55 years old.
No,
Um,
I know.
but I
Yeah.
do
I
think
know what I'm doing.
yeah, I do think that this was the time to do this, because it was getting to a point where it was exhausting, that we were supposed to believe they had some sort of control over the shows, even like Adam Pearce, and yet the Bloodline were doing whatever, whenever, to whomever they wanted, and it just felt like no one cared. And so
Mhm.
then it was like, okay, getting to a point now where it's like, yeah, no, there is an authority figure here, and they do have power to shut this down. And it feels like you said, like, this to me feels we're getting close to the end, which is unfortunate, but I feel that Roman kind of set the end up when he decided to take months off at a time, because he
Mhm.
completely derailed this storyline at its peak. And so it's like, there's really I don't think that you can get back to that point where we were a year ago, where it was the hottest story in wrestling. I don't think you can get back there. So it
Mhm.
should be, this is the last leg from here to Mania. And then we can figure out what happens after that, assuming that Cody wins or whatever. But and Roman can still get back to being like at the top of the company in a hot storyline, I mean. But yeah, I think that this is like a good way to have that in there because someone needs to step in and be like, no, this is not right what you're doing. And so I like that
Mhm.
Nick's doing it, and that Nick is someone who could step up to Roman and nobody would really question it the same way that if it was like Adam Pearce. Like, no disrespect to Adam Pearce, he was a wrestler, but he ain't big and jacked and like,
No, no,
it's
he's not,
known in
no.
wrestling world the way all this is. So if he were to step up to Roman Reigns, there wouldn't be people being like, he's just a GM. It's like, no,
No,
he's not.
this is
He's very
the
accomplished.
he's the longest reigning NWA champion in the modern era.